Hey guys, Nuzzy here, and today we're back for another YouTube video. Today's Types to Suggest I'm going to be covering Jonathan Joestar, the main protagonist from part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, versus Joseph Joestar, the main protagonist of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure part 2. I thought that this was fairly obvious, but judging by the comment section of my most recent videos, clearly not. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll be explaining why Joseph absolutely claps Jonathan. Like, unironically, it's not really even much of a contest. So, Jonathan's best, like, strength feat or, like, attack potency feat has been able to damage Dio, right? He's quite on par with him, the fight was quite close, but Jonathan still won. You then have Straitso, you know, a character who, when he became a vampire, wasn't as strong as Dio, but was still quite powerful in his own right. And Joseph, without any, like, basic Hammond training, was able to even draw blood from him. And while he did win, it was more through strategy. But the fact he was able to draw blood from Straitso at all was a very impressive feat. And is, you know, it's quite impressive considering how he hasn't had nearly as much Hammond training as Jonathan by this point. Later on, like with the same amount of training, he goes on to fight Santana, a being who is stated to be more powerful than any zombie or vampire shown in the series before. This includes characters like Straitso and Dio, and, well, again, it kind of falls under the same thing. Jonathan was able to damage him, but he wasn't quite able to kill him with, like, pure power. It was more through strategy. Later on, again, before training, Joseph meets Wamu, and he is able to damage him, but again, there's a thing to it. Wamu was letting him get damaged, or letting himself get hit by Joseph, rather. But this is all before, like, Joseph trains with Lisa, and by this point, like, the fact that there's even an argument that he's relative to Jonathan should really show that later on, after his training, he is pretty substantially above Jonathan. You see, von Stroheim, right, a cyborg, you know, Nazi, he gets destroyed by Santana and then later on comes back with enough power to destroy Santana, essentially, or a enemy equivalent to Santana. And Kars, the most powerful Pillar Man, takes his blade on his hand and just one-shots von Stroheim effortlessly. And by the time that Jonathan, or rather Joseph, completes his training and goes to fight Kars, he gets matched with the same blade and breaks it in half with a single attack. This one attack that could one-shot someone who was stated to be capable of fighting Santana, who is stated already above Dio and Jonathan, technically, would basically mean that Joseph could one-shot, like, Jonathan with just one attack, which is pretty nuts to consider. You also have to consider that Joseph has displayed more faster speed feats than Jonathan. The only time where you could possibly say that their relative is, like, Joseph, like, mid-training with Lisa, where he displays a feat capable of dodging a beam of light. However, he has already started his training here, so it's a little bit unquantifiable to say if Jonathan scales to this or not. I do think that Jonathan is faster than I and most people put him at, because the gap is simply too large between hypersonic to the speed of light. However, there's no concrete evidence as to where specifically he would be without putting in any headcanon, unless for some reason you think that Jonathan is on par with Joseph mid-training, which is kind of unknown. It's kind of vague if that is the case. There's also the fact that, you know, Joseph's just much more intelligent than Jonathan. Yeah, Jonathan's quite smart, but he's not, you know, reaching Pillar Man levels of intelligence, where the weakest character of the Pillar Men was able to learn an entire language just by hearing a few words, and Joseph is able to outsmart these same Pillar Men. There's also the fact that Joseph has some level of precognition and can just pull random weapons out of his ass as well. So, all in all, there's not really much Jonathan can really do to Joseph whatsoever. I think a better debate for Joseph would be, like, Joseph in his prime versus his Part 3 self, since while Joseph would be much faster, more powerful, more durable against his older self has, you know, a stand, which would make it more interesting to talk about. If you want me to talk about that, then let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe. There wasn't much to this, you know. You could possibly go into talk about their weapons, but at that point there's not really much point, because it wouldn't really affect things much. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.